I think she has somebody. I'll forget it.
I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome all those in attendance and those who are live streaming today. We do have a full council here today. Also, Cliff Gravia, our town manager, is here. Terry Tiemann, our assistant town manager, is in the back. Raylene is coming, our town clerk. And Will Wharton, our IT director, is here as well. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have approval of the agenda? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Approval of the minutes of the public hearing held on March 17.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held March 21, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Whoops.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the financial report, including the tax adjustment, list number 1. Mrs. Keel?
Thank you, Mayor. This report covers the budget through March 31st, 2025. We are 100% through fiscal year 2025. We closed the fiscal year with revenues 6.4% over budget. This is mainly due to revenue and parking, transfer taxes, permits, and investment income. Our operating expenses were on target. We expended 97.2% of our budget compared to 96.9% last year. Recognizing that this report is subject to audit, I move that the council approve this unaudited report.
Do we have a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Hold on. We also, on a periodic basis, the town adjusts the assessments for homes that have had major renovations or demolitions or new construction. We have a new list, tax adjustment list number 1, dated April 25th, for today's meeting on April 25th, 2025. Everyone has received a copy of this list. I move that we adopt the assessments on the list.
Second?
All those in favor? Any discussion?
Aye.
Any discussion? No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, announcements and recognition of visitors and public comment. I believe we have one who wants to make some public comment today. If you could please just state your name and your local address.
Okay, I hope it's okay. My name is, first, I'm glad to be here today. My name is Claire Evans Layton. I sent you all an email a while back and regarding my inability to vote in the last town election because my husband passed away. I have 2 children, and I had my house put in an LLC. And my lawyer did not advise me to the effect that once the property is in an LLC, then I lost my right to vote. That has been an extremely emotional situation for me. I'm a resident. I've been here forever. My Evans is, if you look over here in the museum, you'll see all the background, and my husband and I had a house here for 60 years. So be that as it may, that certainly does not change my current situation. What I'm here for is because I want to vote. I really want to vote. There's something in me about paying my taxes and then having no say and just being a reciprocal of whatever and I know you make good decisions, but being a reciprocal of your decision making without having had a word to say. I've done some research. I looked back and I saw that research Dagsboro, Fenwick, and Lopen Acres, they do allow LLCs to vote. Seaford has amended their charter, and it is currently pending in legislature to see if then they will permit that kind of thing. I read that there's a number of legal entities like LLCs that are the state allows to vote, and I know that the town charter here was established in 1909. Well, obviously, there were no LLCs in 1909. These only came about in the 1970s, but still the charter stands, and I am totally aware of that. And I am totally aware of what you have to go through to amend the charter. The bottom line for me is fairness. And I was so struck just now when we pledged that flag, thinking about all who have given all so that we can have this freedom to vote. And don't you remember back in Boston Tea Party, taxation without representation was a major issue. So maybe that's the underlying fact for me. I am still totally in control of my house. It's just I don't rent it, 114 First Street. I have 2 kids. The only reason I put it in LLC to balance it for them when I'm done. I'm 83 years old. I'm in the 4th quarter. So I just really, it was an issue. So all my life I have voted here. And then and that gentleman, I'm sure he's a fine gentleman sitting over there with those TVs, but I will never forget you. You are the one who told me when I walked in last year to vote in the town election, your name is not on the list. And he did his job. And what? I had no clue. So one question is, are people like me, just regular folk, aware of this situation prior to them? Because I know I'm not the only LLC here. I don't know if that knowledge is made known. Honestly, had I known it, and my lawyer had known it, it would not have happened. That's how dear my right to vote is to me. So, I know what it would entail for you to make that change, but I really am making that appeal. I know that if a house, let's say, is owned by 12 people, you can't have 12 people for one property voting. That makes 0 sense. But what does make sense to me is one from that group, that one property, duly certified to represent that property and vote. I can't make that change. Only you can make that change. But if you send me in a direction to further this, I will, I will move forward. It's just really bothered me a lot. And again, I know it's nothing that you have done. I know it's the old charter. But am I the only one who has ever come before you with this? I am? Oh, for gracious sake. Nobody else cares about their vote? Whoosh. Ugh, that's amazing to me.
Not an LLC, no.
That's amazing to me. Mm-hmm. And so that's the bottom line for me. My ability, or my lack of ability to vote when I pay my taxes is faithful as anybody you'll ever meet. I've never missed a time, nor unless something goes wrong, will I ever miss a time. I love Bethany. My dad was born right here where that blue house is, 12 brothers and sisters. My heritage is here. My everything. I got married. I'm just going to say it all. You're just going to have to wait. I got married in 1962, December 15th. We bought our first property in Bethany in February of December 63. We have, and I can show you right where it was, and we have bought and sold and bought and sold till now we're down to one. And I was here, have been all my life. My first job, Seagull, age 13. Had to go to Georgetown to get a working permit. This is my treasure, and to have my right to vote revoked, or not revoked, but my inability to vote, it has devastated me. And Cliff knows this. Cliff, I went to you first, right?
Yes.
I came, and he told me, then you send an email, which is what I've done. I couldn't appear in March. I was away, but I have been anxious for this day. I hope you read my heart and take it into consideration. I just can't believe that I'm the only one who cherishes her vote so much to have never spoken or addressed this issue. But if I am the only one, I will pursue it. To what degree, I don't know, but I certainly would appreciate your consideration. I felt like asking you, could I just be grandfathered in? My kids have no say in anything I do in that house. Only when I'm dead, then they can, whatever they'll do with it. But always, and now it's just like somebody took that away and it hurts. So thank you for letting me share. I really, really do appreciate it. And I don't know what, if anything, would come of this, but perhaps I'll feel better having expressed my feelings. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Claire, for coming up. You know, as we spoke a little bit earlier, and it's not an easy process. It's in the charter. It would have to go back to the state. You know, and there are situations, because we'd have to look at it in terms of what it opens up, because, you know, we have a lot of businesses in town, and that can open it up to voting for businesses, because a lot of businesses are in LLCs. And, you know, LLCs can be large and affect maybe a small piece here in town, but be involved in things outside of town, a lot of things outside of town, so. The realities of it are yeah. Extreme, I know that. Right. I'm just one personal person. Yeah, and you should have your vote. I agree with you. Yeah. And we'll get together and talk about it, and possibly have a workshop to discuss it in the near future, and look at it from there. I mean, we're not unusual. If you look at coastal towns here, and you figure coastal towns are really a little bit different from, you know, other towns in inland, because you know, most of our residents don't live here. If you lived here, you'd have no problem at all. You could vote.
How many days do I have to live here?
I believe it's half a year, and you have to list it as your permanent residence.
I only live in Ocean View. I can move it. I will be here in May, and I don't go back to the other house. I just live down by Cedar Neck, by the old G&E. But
Yeah.
this was a tradition my family and I had done always. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Well, see, you vote in Ocean View.
No, I'm
Right.
not even in the corporate limits of Ocean View.
Oh, you're not in the corporate limits.
I'm down Cedar Neck, and I'm not in the incorporated limits.
Okay. As we,
Months in a day, is it to vote?
it's 6 months and a day, I believe. That's what I've heard. I'd have to ask an attorney on that to be sure, but, yeah. So, and as I said, it's not unusual on coastal towns where, you know, 80% of our residents, our homeowners, don't live here. So, Rehoboth is the same as us, Dewey's the same as us, you know, we're not unusual, so, well, thank you. Does anybody have any comments, any thoughts? Okay.
Mayor, I think your idea of maybe doing a workshop with it to try to look at it makes good sense, so all right?
Okay,
So,
let's talk about it, and we'll
yeah,
set something up.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, moving on to announcements. Bethany Beach Town Council will be holding a special election, as we were just discussing, on Saturday, May the 24th, 2025, at 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. for the purpose of voting for or against the Town Council's proposal to borrow a sum of money for construction of a new water clarifier as part of our water plant. Please be aware, as part of this, I just want to state a few things that are maybe relevant to it here, that our current water tower loan will be paid off in December of this year. So with that off the books, a new loan coming in is really only going to backfill behind that, and residents really won't see anything on the capital loan portion of your water bills. It will just backfill and continue as it has been. So just so you're aware of that, you're not going to get a big bump up on the capital side. The water rates went up this year, so that will go up. Additional good news relative to the referendum is that the state has preliminarily approved Bethany Beach for up to $4.9 million loan at 2%, thanks to the efforts of our Assistant Town Manager, Terry Tiemann. Thank you, Terry. Another thing, unfortunately, the tulip season has come to an end. Yes, it's been an incredible spring splash of color and is always so welcomed by our local residents and our visitors. I want to thank Public Works Department and specifically Jess and Katie, who are our horticultural experts, for all their hard work in making all this possible. I see that everything's been dug out down there now, and I hope some of you were able to get some bulbs as they were given away. So, moving on to reports. Report from the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee, Mr. Hinman and Mrs. Keel.
So, Mayor, we're going to have two members of our team share the report with you, with the council and the. So, Mark Cohen, one of our members, is going to talk about our March Learning Workshop. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mr. Hinman. So I'm Mark Cohen. I live at 600 6th Street, right around the corner from Rich McHugh. We held our second annual workshop on March 27th. We had over 40 people here in the chamber, and that included representatives of local government from Henlopen Acres, Lewis, Millville, Ocean View, Rehoboth Beach, as well as Bethany. And we also had a number of local residents and business people, representatives of DelDOT, DNREC, and the Assisting Bicycle Commuters Ministry, or ABC as it's known, from Mariners, and the Coalition for a Safer North Bethany. The workshop, as in the past, the previous workshop, was intended as an opportunity to come together in advance of the season to share plans, build and nurture our networks, both formally and informally, and foster a renewed and energized sense of purpose to reduce risks for both residents and guests in the coastal communities. So across the presentations we had, there were some common issues across communities and organizations. One of them is the need for safety training for J1 students who work here during the summer. Many of them, probably a very large majority, commute on bikes, and many of them ride late at night on unlit roads. Also, the need across town lines for a robust strategy, as it was said, to ensure the safe operation of electric bicycles, scooters, and skateboards, lower speed limits on thoroughfares shared by bikes, pedestrians, and cars. And one area that was identified with a sense of urgency is to address the roadway between Camp Barnes and Parker House Road, which is referred to by some as the death trap. There were also a number of positive points raised with great enthusiasm, some exciting developments that have either happened or are in the works. These include new and extended trails for both bikes and pedestrians linking Lewis and Georgetown, also alongside Muddy Neck Road in Ocean View, and along the Assawoman Canal. The trail will be extended to South Bethany. The new rapid rectangular flash beacons, the one that I believe is already operational on Route 1 by the Fresh Pond Park trailhead, and the one that is coming soon on Route 26 by DeFebo's. And finally, the potential to collaborate with DelDOT on a regional bicycle plan that would help foster interconnectivity across community lines. Participants also shared videos, posters, brochures, and other materials they have developed to foster greater awareness of bike and pedestrian safety. Just a couple of quotes to share with you, Mayor and council members. The DelDOT representative said it was, quote, "great to see everyone, and it is inspiring to see all the good work and camaraderie the communities have." And another participant said, quote, "collaboration, cooperation, and coordination are the keys." So I think everyone I talked to thought it was a great workshop, and there was a lot of enthusiasm about continuing to cooperate over the next year, and particularly during the season. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. And Art Diver will speak to us about our meeting that we had yesterday. Thanks, Art. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mickey. My name is Art Diver, and I live over here on 3rd Street in Bethany, and I'm very happy to be here today. It's great to see such a wonderful turnout. As you know, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee is working very diligently to try and make sure that everybody that's in Bethany has not only a fun time, but a safe time. And I'm very happy to be part of this group. I'm very impressed with the dedication of the members of our team. And it's a very diverse group. I mean, people have all sorts of different experiences that they bring to the committee, and they live in different parts of Bethany, so they look at things a little differently. But we have collaborated very successfully in getting a number of things done. So yesterday, again, we had a meeting that went approximately 2 hours. We covered a lot of ground. I'm not going to possibly cover, everything here in terms of a summary, but let me just kind of highlight a few things. First off, we did talk about, we had a safety contact portion of the program. And in that section, we talked about the recent changes to the speed limits from Dewey Beach down to the Maryland state line. And if you haven't seen this yet, the new signs have gone up, and there have been significant speed reductions in a number of parts of the road here. And that we feel that this is going to be a very positive thing for the community's sake, because it's going to reduce the speed and in turn enhance safety for a number of people in the area. So that was a big step forward. And we also talked about some signage that we've seen in other areas around this part of the state. We talked about a couple signs that we've seen up in Lewis and one in Ocean View that again just are promoting safety. So during the course of the meeting, we've discussed a number of themes about trying to again communicate safety out to everybody and how to do it. We have a lot of ideas and we're pursuing them as best we can. But again, things like trying to encourage people to wear the bike helmet. Trying to make sure that they are seen so they're safe, so that they have lights on their bike or wearing reflective clothing, because that does become an issue, especially if people are out exercising before dawn or after the sunset. So we want, again, trying to emphasize things that will promote safety, and we were talking about a number of issues along those lines. The second thing from the meeting that Mark's already covered was we had a very good discussion about the the April Learning Sharing Workshop, and that there's no sense in me covering anything more. He did a great job with it. The third thing in our program, we had a guest speaker from T2. His name is Matthew Carter, and he talked about the safe speed determination process, which I found absolutely fascinating. He spoke very eloquently for quite a while, and his talk was very insightful. I mean, he has a lot of experience. He's extremely enthusiastic about what he does, and he's very happy to share that with us, and I was very glad he was here. And quite frankly, a number of things that he mentioned to us I think were very insightful. I think, you know, as he mentioned, he is a trained engineer, and by his nature, he is, you know, used to using numbers and coming up with a definitive answer on things. But as he explained to us, the more he experiences, the more he appreciates the fact that there's a number of other factors that need to be considered in all decision making. And just his examples he provided and the way he approached things really, I think, was very insightful to me, and I'm assuming as for other members of the committee. So I'm certainly glad he joined us. The fourth point that we went over is we talked about the traffic group report. And we got various comments from members of the committee, and in particular, I think it was very helpful that actually Mark pointed out one thing that needs to be taken into consideration in evaluating the report is the situation with the north part of Pennsylvania Avenue, and the fact that, you know, those roads can flood from time to time when you get heavy rain or other conditions that cause it. So those are, I think, our committee did some nice review on it, and we have some thoughts that we've shared, and hopefully those will be, you know, considered in terms of the final approach to the project. And then the last portion, the fifth portion, that last thing I want to cover, was the fact that we're planning for the 2025 season. And our committee is going to do a lot of different things to support safe practices in the area. And one of the first things we're looking into and hoping to support is the Ocean to Bay Bike Tour, which is scheduled for next Friday and Saturday. The rides begin over here at the Christian Conference Center in Bethany, and the last couple years they've had over 2,000 participants. So it's a great opportunity for us to go and, you know, represent Bethany, talk to people about various safety issues, and in turn communicate thoughts that we have about just, you know, people having a fun but enjoy and safe time while they're here in Bethany. So we're going to be supporting that. We're going to be supporting various J1 efforts to, you know, educate the students to help them have a successful time here in Bethany. But we have a spreadsheet here with a lot of different events that we're already planning to participate in, and we're going to continue to develop this. So this is just the beginning. But I'm, again, just very grateful to be part of this wonderful group. And does anybody have any questions? Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You guys
Art
set?
and Mark, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, the Bicycle and Safety Committee is, you guys are doing incredible things. The involvement and the number of activities and the reach out is astounding. Thank you.
Great team.
Yep. Next on our list is the Non-Residential Design Committee, Mr. Shepley.
Thank you, Mayor. The Non-Residential Design Review Committee, proud of the longest title in town, has met 3 times since my last report. We have reviewed and approved 7 applications, and I'd like to briefly go over those with you. On the end of February, we had 2 applications. One was for a new sign to the entrance to Lake Bethany Community Association, or Lake Bethany from the Community Association. And Lake Bethany is the last development before you hit Ocean View on the right hand, on the north side of Garfield. That was approved. And we have an application from Sunshine Baguette down at 100 Garfield Parkway, right around the corner off of Atlantic Avenue, for some new window signs. That was also approved. Then at the beginning of this month, April, we had 3 applications, all new businesses. So I can give you a little sample of what's coming this summer. Femme, which is a new business. It's a coastal boutique at 101 Garfield Parkway, where the old comics and gaming business used to be. They applied for a new awning, a sign, and new paint on the building, and that was approved. Then the next application was from Surfin' Betty's. Anybody heard of it? Betty's Burgers down in Ocean City. Surfin' Betty, or Betty, is coming to our town at 786 Garfield Parkway, which is next door to DeFebo's Market, where the old Pac de Bowl used to be. And they applied for a new sign and window signs, which was approved. They were all within our guidelines. And last but not least, on that day, it was Sweeties, a new business for us, but you may have seen them up in Ocean View. They're at 98 Garfield Parkway, and they applied for a new sign and some window signs. Then yesterday, we reviewed 2 more applications. One was from the Juice Box, which again is a new business for us, but they are right over the canal in Ocean View. They're going to be at 8 Pennsylvania Avenue between Bethany Blues and the post office where Sandy Paws used to be. And all they had requested was approval for a new sign where it used to say Sandy Paws above the door. Now it says, or will say, Juice Box. And that was approved. And then another new business called Sun and Sea, which is at 111 Garfield Parkway, replacing the old Sensations that had been there for a long time. They requested approval for a new parapet, which, for those of you who don't know, and I was one of those, is a wall on a roof for both appearance and for safety. The roof is a flat roof there, and without the parapet, if you were up there, you could walk off the roof. So in addition to the parapet, they wanted approval for a new awning and siding on the bricks that are on the front of the building, which was also approved. And that is my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Is Sun and Sea like a T-shirt place?
T-shirts, sunglasses, souvenirs, yes.
Okay. Quite a bit of activity.
Yeah, well, part of this I would have given last month if I was here, but I wasn't, so I'm catching up. Thank you. But we're busy, and we're always busy in the spring because new businesses want their signs up before they open.
Yep.
We have a couple of more potential applications that have talked to Susan, but none of those have submitted the actual application yet. So we'll probably meet again in a couple of weeks.
Are they new businesses, or are they?
One of them is, I'm not sure about the other one.
Okay.
Most of our applications are for new businesses. The Sunshine Baguette was not a new business, but they wanted some new decals on their windows. But all the other 7, well, not Lake Bethany, but the other 5 businesses are new to us.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Next is the report of the Cultural and Historical Affairs Committee. Mrs. Califf.
The Cultural and Historical Affairs Committee held a meeting on April 8th. Our last cultural evening for the spring was held on April 16th, and we had Helen Raleigh of Story Hill Farm, who shared her vision for creating a culinary coast. The program was very interesting, very well attended. Our programs then will resume in the fall in the off-season, starting in October. Visitors to the Dinker Irvin Museum in March have exceeded last year's count. In March of 2024, we had 12 visitors, excuse me, and this year we had 29. 3 of them were from Homer, Alaska. Every year they come to Bethany Beach for their vacation. Yeah, that's right. Every year they come here for their vacation. So this year we got to meet them. So I would say if you haven't been to the Dinker Irvin Museum yet, come on down. You will not be disappointed. Come on down and see us. Saturday, May 3rd, from 11 to 1, we're going to be hosting Fun for the Roses at the museum. This event launches our summer hours, which will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to noon, and celebrates the 3rd anniversary of the museum. We'll be having live music, we'll have activities for the kids, and of course, docents will be available for museum tours. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't believe somebody comes from Alaska, all the way to Alaska to spend their... Every year. Okay, next on the, is the report from the town manager, Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, council. As the council is aware, we've had some issues with the Bandstand Plaza. There is a bulkhead at the midpoint of the plaza where the boards transition into pavers, and the bulkhead is many, many decades old and has begun to deteriorate. The result of that is that over the course of time and last year, and it's beginning to happen again, sand is infiltrating east towards the ocean through the bulkhead from under the pavers, and some of the pavers and a couple of the bollards, one bollard last year and another bollard is now beginning to sink into the abyss, if you will. So the bulkhead needs to be replayed before Junior disappears one day at the plaza, just into the pavers. We've had RK&K Engineering do a total assessment of the boardwalk to see what was needed and also to look in particular at this one issue. And they've come back with 3 different recommendations. They ranged in price from $93,000 to $150,000. The mid option, which is a $97,000 option, was the option that we were discussing with them, but the question we asked of them a couple of months ago was to go back and tell us, after they reviewed their recommendations, which option would give us the most resiliency, be the most storm-proof, if anything ever is, to replace the current bulkhead. They've come back and they've told us that they're advocating for a mechanically stabilized earth application, which is it's a very involved and it's done in different ways in different areas for different reasons. But essentially, it's geotextile fabric wrapped around almost in bricks or rolls around a specific type of fill, then compacted as a wall with stabilizing earth behind it. And it's apparently very, very effective at diffusing wave action, and has actually been used by RK&K with DENREC at the Indian River Inlet to help shore up some of the banks of the inlet itself. So with that in mind, we've asked them to give us a final design, give us bid documents with the idea that we'll go ahead with that work come the fall. So that's something that's important for us. Public Works is able to take care of the issue in the various spots where we have them. It is safe. There are no real issues, but something we do need to take care of. Speaking of Public Works, the Public Works yard is in dire need of some sort of a makeover or a redo. Public Works does an awful lot. There are our trash people, our beach cleanup people, our streets people, you name it. Public Works wears all that hats, and they do it in a facility that's less than ideal. Brett has had money in his budget for a number of years to get a professional assessment of how we might reallocate the space up there, what we might be able to do to retrofit the existing building, and what they might be able to do also to create some sort of a facility to house staff, because what they do up there in the space they have is amazing that they put up with it, if you will. So that is something that Brett has finally gone ahead and done, and we're waiting on a proposal from RK&K to begin to do that work. Another issue that's become sort of topical, at least for me, and I'm sure that there was some discussion with the Pedestrian Safety Committee, is the speed limit on Route 1. I'm sure by now the members of the committee are steeped in all the yada yada, if you will, of the equation, the 85th percentile equation that traffic engineers like to use when they determine speed limits. And it's been a very esoteric, mathematically based formula that really did not take into consideration real life, real time issues on a roadway surface. Apparently, DelDOT is moving and looking at more of a safe streets approach to determining speed limits, as indicated by what they've done on Route 1, especially when you realize that for the last mile and a half going north on Delaware Route 1, where there are no homes, very little pedestrian traffic or crossover, they've lowered the speed limit to 35 miles an hour before you get to Dewey Beach. I mean, so if they're going to that extra measure to ensure pedestrian safety, I would like to ask the mayor and council if they would like me to revisit an initiative we pursued about a year and a half ago, where our mayor reached out to Sea Colony, South Bethany. We initiated a letter to Delaware Department of Transportation and asked for a speed limit reduction to 30 miles an hour in our 35-mile-an-hour per zone through all our communities. DelDOT said no. But again, if they're taking a new approach, I think it's worth asking. And if you would like, I'll craft that correspondence to Sea Colony and to South Bethany and see if we can renew that application.
So you're talking from,
Our corporate limits to the end of South Bethany's corporate limits, through Sea Colony and through no man's land near Middlesex Beach.
and through Sea Colony, or through South Bethany as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when we've had conversations with DelDOT before over this issue, specifically on Route 26, they don't want to have inconsistent limits. They don't want to see us at 30, even though they did allow us to go to 30 because the bridge is a demarcation point, and then see Ocean View at 35, and then Millville at 30. They want consistency.
So Cliff, will we have to get South Bethany's agreement also?
Yes, they would all have to participate with us and have an interest in
So
doing that.
DelDOT would say no if South Bethany said no?
They said no before when we asked
I
jointly.
thought they did.
But
yeah.
again, I think, given what they're doing now, I don't know how they can certainly justify the thousands of people we have cross our streets in the summer
I
based on
totally-
what they've
totally
done
agree, yeah.
one north and south of us.
Was South Bethany on board?
South Bethany was on board last
Everybody
time.
was on board? but
Everybody
the
was
state?
on board, yes.
And because Sea Colony and Middlesex Beach is unincorporated, we don't need their approval, do we?
Well, we asked. I mean, I think it's important that 2,800 homes in Sea Colony, that they participate with us, that they have the interest.
Okay.
So for me, fully support that. The second question I have, maybe for another conversation, are there any other streets, if they're taking this approach, safe street, that we'd want to consider in the town?
Well, in town, we've already asked the question. I think you've reviewed some of the responses we had about going back and looking at lowering our 25s, and I did not sense there was a positive response from Mr. Carter when we last asked the question, which was just a few weeks ago.
Cliff, with the new administration, do you think it's possible to do something before the inundation of our visitors this year?
I
doubt it.
can't even imagine going to DelDOT and asking a question.
Figured it was a pipe dream, but you can always ask.
So not an agenda item, but absent some other discourse, I'll proceed and provide you something, Mayor, to consider moving forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, what's feelings? Does
Well, I think we
anybody-
should give him the authorization to come up with the recommendation and a letter to send to DelDOT and request the reduction again for safety reasons. I mean, we have thousands of people crossing the street, and in North Bethany and between Inlet and Dewey, there are no crossovers.
Well,
So-
to make it official and the way we should do it, this is an agenda item. So what I'll do is prepare a letter for your correspondence with the surrounding communities. If they get on board, we can bring it back to the council for a vote to move forward with the letter.
Yeah,
Okay?
sounds good. Sounds good.
And Mayor, that's all I have.
That's it? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gravy. Before we go into new business, I would like to state that there will be an opportunity for public address questions on the agenda items after council discussion and before council vote. So if somebody has something to say, I will ask for it, and please, if you've got something to say, you've got the opportunity. First item under new business, discussion, consideration, and possible vote on the town's investment policy. Mrs. Keel.
Thank you, Mayor. In April of every year, the town council reviews the town's investment policy. The investment policy is in the briefing materials that were posted online and emailed out to everyone a week ago, and the council has received them. As of right now, no changes have been proposed. So I would move that we approve the town's investment policy for fiscal year 2026.
Okay. Okay, do we have any discussion? None? Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next one.
The next business on the agenda is the consideration and possible vote on a 2025 concessions for exercise classes to be held during the summer season on the beach. Mayor Caleb.
Council, you all have a copy of the exercise concessions schedule for the upcoming summer season. I would say it appears to be quite full. A lot of activity not just down here at the end of Garfield, but on the beach at other locations, including off of Parkwood and I believe off of Ocean View Parkway as well. So, and this goes from sunrise for those who want to get up and do their yoga as the sun rises. And as I see, there's even a new sunset yoga twice a month. So if you want to get up and do your yoga when the sun goes down, there you go. Do we have a motion to accept the schedule as it's
So moved.
stated?
Second.
Discussion.
Can I ask how the insurance works for these? How does the town get insured for the programs that their people are running?
They provide proof of insurance.
They do, for
Yes.
each one of these?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
part of the ordinance.
Okay,
dealing
I
with these
figured, I just,
concessions.
okay.
Yeah, they all have to get a permit,
Yes.
correct?
And they have to give us,
They need a business license, yes.
Yeah.
Business license.
okay, all right. And they have to name the town as co-insured?
Yes,
Okay.
proof of insurance.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. First reading, discussion, consideration, possible vote on the adoption of ordinance to amend section, let me see if I've got the wording here correct. Section 40, manager by amending the purchasing of amounts, and you may have to reread this.
Yes, I will reread this.
Okay. Go ahead.
We would like to amend the existing section 40 by stating the following: to supervise the purchase of all materials, supplies, and equipment for which funds are provided in the budget, and to make contracts necessary for the operation or maintenance of town services. The town manager will have and follow a purchasing policy that specifies when the town council must give prior approval for a purchase. Revisions to the purchasing policy must also be approved by the town council.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Discussion?
This is
I know it's first reading.
first reading.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and
Still have discussion.
certainly, yes, absolutely, that's what I'm going to start doing.
Okay.
Let 'em, right?
We amended this policy internally a couple of years ago, I think in 21 or 22, and we did not make the needed adjustment to the ordinance at the time. And this is something under what's called in the code the manager's duties. So part of the manager's duty is to supervise the purchase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've had some discussion. We were simply going to raise dollar amounts. We've had some discussion back and forth with different council members about maybe building a COLA multiplier in on a yearly basis or doing something like that. But then that sort of involves constantly going back to the code or making you sit down, figuring out what the CPI has been for the last couple of years and getting your calculator out and thinking where it is. So I think maybe the easiest way to deal with this, and we began talking about it here yesterday and today, is to make this part of the purchasing policy that the council approves on a regular basis. Have the dollar amount listed there so we don't have to keep on going back into the code, and it's approved by the council in a format that's a little less formal, but still part of your approval process, but not a constant ongoing code changes. So hence this, and this is our first stab over the last day or two to make this a little simpler to deal with.
So this would be a two-step process. We'd change the ordinance, and then we change the purchasing policy, and by that point forward, we wouldn't have to go back to change. the
Yes, so this, at the second reading next month, we'd present the new purchasing policy also.
ordinance. Okay, okay.
I like this
think it's a
because
great
the
idea.
auditors also look at the purchasing policy and they
Yes.
compare the invoices to this. They do not compare the invoices to the ordinance. So I actually think we get more supervision doing it this way
Okay.
than doing it the current way.
Okay.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay, any other comments? Because this is the first reading, do we even have to vote?
No.
Okay. Next item, discussion, consideration, and possible vote on purchasing a 2025 Caterpillar 265 ACHF compact track loader and 8-foot articulating snowplow for $100,084. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, Council, this is Brett's purchase order for a budgeted item, a skid steer or a compact track leader, as it's called. Someone had asked me what that was. I included a picture so everybody would know what a skid steer is in your packet. We received 4 bids ranging from $78,000 to $93,000 for this skid steer. And Public Works is recommending that we go with the high bid, and I think they list some very valid reasons. First off is the industry reputation for reliability, a 5-year warranty compared to a 2-year warranty, multiple cameras on the vehicle, which adds to its usability and safety, and parts are readily available, which they are not for the Kubotas, the Teleskids, and the Bobcats. In addition, the Caterpillar generates significantly more torque at a lower RPM and is more usable for them. With this is also a purchase for a snowplow for an additional $7,921 from the state contract, and it's an articulating snowplow. One of the problems Public Works has had is, we realized again this winter with the snow, is that when they go to plow a space, especially in some of our diagonal parking spaces, when a car is already in the space and they need a plow that articulates and allows it to plow at an angle. So this will substantially increase their ability, especially in the areas closer to the boardwalk and on Garfield Parkway, to effectively plow our streets. But again, the highest cost, but I think there's valid reasons to go with the recommendation here.
Okay. Could have used it this year.
They could have used it this year. And an aside that I meant to mention earlier, when I was doing a little bit of workup for the Public Works yard, we determined that the original building, the larger building, was built in 1984. I'm talking to Brett about that, and he was saying, yeah, I was working here 3 or 4 years before they built that building. So I think we're on our 44th or 45th year here with Brett, so.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, Cliff, other than snow removal, what would you use that for?
Well, take a look at the picture. So they can use it to pick up dirt, load it in the dump truck. This allows them for the first time to actually use a larger dump truck. They
Okay.
use it to plow. They use it as almost a very, very large Bobcat. So it has that multiple uses for them. And they
Don't
use
they
it quite
use this on
frequently.
the beach too?
Would they use-
At the entrances?
I try to keep them off the beach in this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if we need something like that, it's great when Denrec shows up with their megas as opposed to us using ours, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bill?
Yeah, I just had a question.
Up.
Bill?
Bill?
You have to.
Can you run up?
No, it's just a simple question. Bill Bergfeld, 414 Gibson. This unit, does it also allow you to attach a broom on the front of it? Because one of the problems that I see when I'm walking around town is the walkways. There's gravel on them at a lot of times, and the bike paths, and not necessarily on Route 1 and 26 because the state kind of keeps those clear. But I know that you have a small street sweeper, but it just seems that, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, people could clean the streets a little
I
bit
think this
better.
would be outsized for walkways. You'd have
Okay.
to see the picture. So, well, I'll talk to Brett about it. I know we have the sweeper. That seems like it would be ideal for the pathways.
Okay.
They may just not do it, so.
Yeah, I just noticed, and you know, you're walking to the beach and you're walking on the pathway that's allowed for pedestrians, and there's all kinds of gravel on it.
Yes.
And the bikes hit them too, so, and it's not just there, it's in the other streets as well, so.
Okay. You could help us with that when you notice it. We can add it to their work list and give them your name, so. All right.
And the tract for this does not, it's fine to go on pavement and.
Yes, yes, but I think if you look at the size of this, I think pathways might be rather difficult for it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, discussion, consideration, possible vote on purchasing a 2024 Chevy Tahoe for the police department for $51,371. Mr. Gravier.
Mayor, this is for a Tahoe that's in the budget. The dollars for this are a combination of a $44,000 grant from the county, along with additional dollars from the town. Included in the dollars we've set aside are enough money to purchase a second Tahoe, and that Tahoe is on its way. You see the 24 is because of the issues that still haven't reconciled themselves with General Motors making police package Tahoes, so that's why we're taking delivery of it late. So this is off the state contract. The state goes through a very elaborate process to make sure they get the lowest bid possible for these types of vehicle.
So
Cliff, I'm sorry, what was you mentioned the GM issue or something? What was? I just missed it.
GM never recovered with some of these vehicles post-COVID with being able to supply them. I mean, especially the police pursuit vehicles, they got especially behind with those.
Okay.
And they're specially rated to do whatever the police do on the road with them, so.
Thank you.
So what they're providing today is still a 2024?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's new, right?
Yes,
I mean, it's
brand
got a
new.
few
Yes,
miles,
yes,
but.
yes.
And Cliff, the $51,371 is the total price for the vehicle?
Yes,
And $44,000 roughly is from a grant. The town's going to put in $7,000.
but we have, what's set aside is a total for 2 vehicles, so there's roughly the 44, I'd say this, we have another 60-some thousand put away.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. This concludes the meeting today. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and the audience and those listening online. Stay safe. Enjoy the spring weather.